Welcome to the Circle Sessions featuring the Circle of Experts. The Circle of Experts are Yasmin Robles from Robles Designs, Tonnisha English-Amamoo of TJE Communications, and Don the Idea Guy. I'm Brett Johnson from Circle 270 Media Podcast Consultants. Each week, one of the Circle of Experts joins me to talk about some critical aspects of growing your podcast. We focus on marketing, social media, monetization, and website design to help you implement all of these together. This week, Tonnisha is here from the Circle of Experts. Tonnisha is on a mission to help small businesses level the playing field through digital marketing solutions. Tonnisha, thanks again for joining me again today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we had talked about this a long time ago. I don't know whether on a podcast or just, just us having conversations
Yeah,
outside of the podcast that you, dedicate days to your business
yeah,
during the month. And if it's not all in one, but this is included, it's a content photo shoot.
yeah,
And I love this idea. And if anybody follows Tonnisha on social media, you will see what she does. You know the results of that because of just fresh
yeah.
photos of her or video of her.
Mhm.
And we wanted to go over how you do that, the pros and the cons, and just how to set that kind of day up if you are looking for that visual exposure point on
Yeah,
social media or newsletter, whatever you might be doing, how you do that. Can you talk a little bit more about, how you came up with it and how it's going and what you do with it?
yeah. Well, I will say, I feel like within the last maybe at least 10 years, I feel like photographers have transitioned from, you have your traditional wedding photographer,
Mhm.
or maybe people that, take photo shoots for events and, family portraits. And there are actually a lot of photographers and videographers who specifically focus on business owners and content creators and helping us to capture the content that we need for our particular audience. So a content shoot is really designed, and this can be photos or videos,
Mhm.
where you're really able to just capture quality images and videos for your brand or business. Now, nowadays, our phones can get that job done for sure. But when you are at least, making a plan for that, you can, make sure that the time that you're spending on it is worth it. So
Yeah.
really the point of doing this is so that you can build up a bank of quality images and videos and use them for social media. I use them to completely redo my entire website. Or just having fresh pictures for your email campaigns, which we talked about recently as well.
Yeah, no. So when you're putting when you're spending the day with this photographer,
Mhm.
is it planned out by you specifically, or working with the photographer and what you want to get accomplished, or just straight out ideas from the photographer videographer?
Yeah, so I'll plug her in. Her name is Erin Burke at Sugar Plum Creative. And with Erin, she does a really good job with helping me to plan out the shoot.
Okay.
So it's not usually all of my ideas. I may have an idea and she will be like, "Oh, I know a place downtown that has this," or "Oh, I know a place down in Franklinton that." So when we're able to talk and share those ideas, her as a photographer who has done this all through the city can, top of mind different studios that we could go to capture what we're looking for, different spots downtown, coffee shops, or maybe even a cool alleyway that has a mural that, matches with the
Yeah.
vibe that we're going for that day. So that's really cool. And we actually have like a Pinterest board where if I see things that I like, I'll like pin it to the board. And then usually about a week or so before the photo shoot, she has like, here's our game plan. Here's the different types of outfits that you may need. You may need, so for example, recently we did a content shoot at my house. I just moved a few months ago, and now I have an office at home. So I
Mhm.
really wanted to capture that, work from home. My whole family's here, and how we get those things done. So I may need an outfit that's more like comfortable work from home. And then we went to the library, so I was a little more dressed up, maybe with some coffee or something. So as you're working with your photographer, or I'm a DIY girl as well. So even if you are planning this out for yourself, it's really to think about what kind of content you want to capture.
Mhm.
That would be my first point, is having a plan for the shoots and the type of content that you want. It's easy to have a plan where it's like, okay, we're going to get content. And then when the day comes, it's like, okay, what do we do?
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people have a really hard time with just even the word content in general, because it's like, what is content?
Mhm.
Everything is content, but it's a matter of thinking about the type of content that you specifically are looking to capture for your podcast. So, if you're unable to have a videographer at every single episode recording, which for those that can do that, that's amazing. But even if you can't, half the time, honestly, 97% of the time,
Mhm.
when Erin is, taking pictures and videos of me talking to clients, I've like paid my friends in wine to like sit through a photo shoot to pretend
Right.
we're in a client meeting just to have that, interaction. I'm scrolling my phone, but I'm really just like scrolling Instagram. So you can kind of set this up where, maybe you get some pizza and wine for your friends and have them, sit with you in your recording place with microphones and just look as if you're having this great interactive conversation. But you're really just doing that to capture content so that you can use it for other stuff.
So you're saying, and I like where you're going with this, is really maybe not overthink it, but
Yeah.
just kind of creating these moments that
Mhm.
captures the essence of you,
Yeah.
the essence of people, because I could also see where they just you could go and do a photo shoot. Maybe the content you're creating is images of you, but you're putting quotes on top of that image for social
Exactly.
media posts, and that's all it has to be. That
Yeah.
so you just want fresh pictures, but
Mhm.
it's you with comments or a quote from an episode or a quote from a blog or something like that. That
Yeah.
you just want something. It's a little it's seasonal
Right.
or fresh, that
Mhm.
it just keeps it going, and then you're just building up this library of a
Exactly.
look. I that
Yeah.
that brings that hurdle down for me in my mind, 'cause
Oh,
you're right, planning ahead going, I don't even know what blog I'm gonna write in 2 weeks. How do I know what kind of photo shoot I want?"
yeah.
Maybe it doesn't necessarily matter. It's
Mhm.
just doing it, and then it starts to evolve over time working with your
Exactly.
videographer, photographer. I love that. Okay, that's
Because
cool.
I have like a bank of pictures going back from September of like 2022.
Yeah.
And I can like go back and be like, oh, I love that outfit and like the vibe of those pictures. I'm gonna use that picture to say this thing.
Yeah.
I have some pictures that look very fall like.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I don't really want to use those right now. Like, I'll save those like for later in the year, and I'll use the other pictures that we have. So it kind of just gives you these fresh photos, and that's something that Erin will think about too, is to capture, me making sure there's maybe like white space in the background so that I can put words, or,
Mhm.
my brand colors are purple. So, when she came this weekend, she ended up being out shopping and saw like a bouquet of flowers that had some purples in it. So she likes to do, I forgot what she calls them. They're like lays or something, where
Mhm.
like it might just be like the top of my laptop and the back of my phone and like flowers. So like that's super spring summer, where
Yeah.
it's just like a picture of my laptop that I can put a quote over or do something with. Just to, have pictures to pull from for social media. So that way, when it does come down to planning out content calendars, you already have that stress of like, what am I going to post? But now you at least have all this stuff that you can say, okay, I really like these pictures. Like, what can I do with them? And how can I
Yeah.
use them? And
Eh,
videos too.
yeah, and it's not stock photo stuff. And it's
Exactly.
you. Now stock photo has its place, of course, but
Right.
yeah.
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 Photos for yourself is the
Right.
It's
Right.
okay.
So I'm sure there's probably maybe a different mindset when you do the video piece to this. So let's talk a little bit about how you address the video.
Honestly, I feel like the video aspect may take a little more planning,
Hmm.
especially if you plan to do videos of like yourself actually speaking about something.
Hmm.
So maybe you think about those things that you may always say. Like, hey guys, I'm Tonnisha English-Amamoo. Go to my website, tjcommunications.com, and sign up for my mailing list. Like maybe that's something I always say. So I'm gonna do a video saying that. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's, hey, we just dropped a new episode, go to our website, and like things that you always say, those call to actions that you're always pushing for.
Hmm.
Think about what those are and do videos around that. If you do have, a special guest coming, let's say you already have your podcast episodes planned and recorded in advance, then you can record a video intro for that. Like, hey, we just interviewed Brett Johnson.
Hmm.
Go to our website and listen, and maybe it's like your picture in the corner or something.
Yeah.
Um, a lot, I think it's called storyboarding, is what photographers and videographers do, where like, or even people doing like big content pieces like commercials and stuff. You kind of have like a storyboard of like, this is how it's going to start, then we're going to move here and do this and do that. So that may require a little more planning, and most likely you may be doing it for a purpose. Like, we do have this
Yeah.
upcoming thing happening, but you
Mhm.
can record those general call to actions as videos, and you're able to use that as content too. What we've
Yeah.
been trying to do is get a little bit of both. So like in the videos, I may not necessarily be saying anything. It's just motion that I can put words over for an Instagram reel or for a TikTok or something like that, you
Yeah.
know?
Kind of the point of three
Yeah, yes.
and insert what you want to afterwards, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So how much time do you dedicate for that day of shooting photos and or videographer that you don't go, okay, I'm just burnt out. I'm done. I can't pose anymore,
yeah. So I used to do these photo shoots monthly, and I honestly
Okay.
got burnt out because it
Oh,
felt like a lot. I would say like one of the hardest things, for maybe it's because I'm a woman. I'm sure I know there's maybe some men who feel the same way, but like trying to pick out your outfits and accessories for all these
yeah.
pictures would sometimes be like, oh my God, this is so stressful.
No.
Especially when I was pregnant. I'm like, oh, I don't like how this fits or whatever.
Right.
So I ended up switching to quarterly. So the
Okay.
quarterly shoot is a little bit longer. I think it's technically 4 hours, but we may take pictures in one place for an hour, and
Mhm.
then we'll drive somewhere else and do pictures there for like an hour or so. So it ends up being a total of like 3 to 4 hours, but you do get to have multiple locations
Yeah.
so that you get as much as you can out of that shoot. And it's always more fun when you have other people involved, if you're able to get some friends involved or even clients. I've like asked clients to like, hey, can you come and maybe take
Huh.
pictures with me for 30 minutes, and I'll make sure you get new headshots, like, or something.
Yeah.
Like a great incentive too, to get clients to be like, oh yeah, no problem. Like they'll come and take pictures for that.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like it sounds really fun. So how about let's go over what tips would you give somebody if they haven't started this yet?
Yeah.
How to begin, how to research it out, quite frankly, how to find the photographer, how you found your person, and what clicked that it's going to make it'll work for you.
Yes. So I intentionally chose Erin because I felt like when it came to just her energy, she's such high energy.
Okay.
So like you can't, like, she'll be like, okay, fake laugh. And so like fake laughing will actually end up making you have a real laugh.
Mhm. Okay.
And she was very organized in regards to like how it was going to get planned out. In my mind, I'm thinking I just show up in a cute outfit and take pictures.
Mhm.
But she's like, no, we're going to get these shots of you doing this, this, and this.
Okay.
And if you have something, that looks like this is what I want you to wear. So she gave a lot of direction, which, you may assume that you don't need a lot of direction. But after you take like 10 pictures, it's like, okay, what else do I do now?
Hmm.
So when you have somebody who is really good at what they do and they're able to really guide you, it makes the process so much easier. So I actually just found her from doing research on social media.
Okay.
Saw other creatives and friends who had used her for similar purposes for their brands or
Mhm.
businesses. And kind of did some pricing research. I looked into her and a few other people to see, as far as cost wise, what made sense for my business
Right.
and then what I was going to get out of it. And
Right.
that was like the first thing I would recommend is doing some research. And even when you're talking to photographers, if this is your budget, say, hey, I have this much as a budget. What can I get from that budget, if anything? And they may even recommend other people if it doesn't, fit within what they can do. So don't be afraid to say what your budget is and, figure out what you can do with that budget. If there is a person that you really, really want to work with, they may be willing
Mhm.
to make some adjustments to some of their packages and offerings
Right.
for you if possible.
Right. Yeah.
I would say the next thing too is really have a plan for the type of content that you want to capture. Even if it's just a general plan and then you're working with your photographer to really help you flesh it out a little bit
Mhm.
more,
Mhm.
having a general idea of what you're looking to do. So, um, in the past, I was just looking to get some really professional looking pictures so that I can, update my website and kind of just get the ball rolling on having, more clean and clear and bright images for social media and just all my
Yeah.
marketing materials. And this past time that we did it, I was looking to capture what it's like being an entrepreneur who primarily works from home. I have two kids and a husband, and sometimes everybody's home when I'm working. And what does that look like when I'm
Mhm.
saving in one hand and then typing with the other? So that's really what I wanted to capture there. So think about that as well. Pick your outfits in advance. Not the day before, like I'm guilty of doing pretty often. Giving yourself that time to, try things on, because when you look good, you feel good, and it really shows up in the pictures when you feel good. So
Yeah.
think about that. And if you can have somebody take some behind the scenes content of you in your content shoot, you can also use that for social media.
Yeah.
This time I had my 7-year-old daughter like do that
Oh,
for me. So she
perfect.
had my phone and she was taking videos. So then I was able to like piece those videos together and use it for an Instagram reel.
Mhm.
Like, hey, here was my content day and here's, what that looked like. So, I think planning is really, really important, knowing what you want to capture, and really working with somebody who can help you achieve that.
Yeah. Part of that planning, is that a almost a what I'd call a strategic plan marketing meeting with that photographer
Yeah.
without any photo shoot, just sitting down going, "This is who I am, this is who you are, and just this is what I wanna get accomplished over the next 4 months," and just
Mhm.
plan so that photographer knows where you're going to? Is that included in that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Okay.
then this past time that we worked together, I am actually putting out here soon a 7 days to better social media. And it is a free email marketing challenge that people can sign up for on their own time. So a lot of our planning for that was, she was on me to make sure I had the mailing list ready and what it looked like ready so that when it came down for her to do pictures from holding my phone, scrolling this thing, that it was actually on the screen of what it would look like.
Oh,
So
wow. Oh my gosh, that's down to the detail, isn't it? That's
yeah,
great. I love it.
that was something that went into the planning. So yeah, when you're working with the person and you're having that strategic planning meeting with them, is really helpful. With Erin, what we actually just wrapped up, I had a package with her for a quarterly package, and every single quarter we had a plan for what we wanted to do. So we did a photo shoot I think two of the photo shoots we did when I was pregnant, and then I've had two ever since then. So, we knew we were going to be showing this whole transition and what that would look like. So, yeah, I mean, it's exactly like a strategic planning meeting with the photographer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least you're not wasting any time when the photo shoot happens. The day
Exactly.
of, you're ready to roll. Things obviously can
Oh,
modify here or there, but
right.
at least you know, okay, this is what we got to get accomplished today. Let's get to it and have fun. Yeah,
Exactly, and that's
yeah,
exactly what it is, because
yeah,
so that way you're focused on, what you're gonna wear and, how you're feeling, and then she's focused on these are all the shots that we're gonna get.
yeah,
You don't have to
yeah,
think about all these things because you already talked about it. It's already planned. Your photographer will already know what they need to do. We already know the different locations that we're going to, and then we're good to go.
yeah. It sounds like you really look forward to these days.
Yeah, they're so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good you found somebody that can make it fun for you too.
Yeah.
You know that they're lifting a lot of what's gonna happen that day and just say, "You show up, we're gonna get it done."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So if a listener has more because this is really enlightening. This is just a to me, eye-opening to making content easier for yourself, no
Yeah,
matter what you're creating.
right.
Video, video cast, podcast for your business, whatever. So if they have questions on how more than what you've already given a lot already, how can they get a hold of you to talk a little bit how you're doing this process?
Yes, you can go to my website. It's tjecommunications.com. I offer free business consultations, so we can definitely have a call to talk more about this. And I also can share in the past, I've done DIY photo shoots for myself. I do have a camera and it has an app to it. And, you don't notice it, but like, in some of the pictures, my phone is right here. And if I just press a button and then like pose, and then in 3 seconds, boom, it takes a picture. So there's definitely ways that you can do this on your own, that I would love to share about as well. So definitely sign up for a consultation. And I am on all social media as TJECOM. That's TJECOMM.
Yeah, super. And if you want to connect with me, talk about this, we'll bring Tanisha in. But how can it be incorporated into your podcast as well? Too, contact me. My calendar's on my website, circle270media.com. While you're there, also subscribe to my free weekly My Podcast Guide newsletter. Love to have you on that too to get the latest news and stuff and items like this. The different marketing ideas that maybe you've never thought about. So, thanks again for joining me, Tanisha. This was great.
Of course. Thank you for having me.